All right, welcome back, everybody. It's the last call. Everyone can drink. And here, Joe, you can say fuck, shit, damn, God, muck, second motherfucker. You can do whatever you want to on here. We don't give a shit. So
cursing. Perfect.
Hey, whoa. Let me just say, fuck the trash down south. Like, we can go 1-11, and as long as we beat the trash down south, fuck them. Fuck them.
Now, can I cut across on that point? Oh,
yeah, go ahead. Cut across on that.
No, please, Joe, go, man, go.
I was gonna say, I always want to beat Georgia Southern, but it is extra nice to beat a good Georgia Southern team.
Yeah,
that's what really they beat Nebraska, they beat a ranked JMU. Well, guess what? They lost to Georgia State.
Yep.
Like that's what
exactly.
Yeah, I'd put this one right up there with the 2016, I think, or 20. Whenever the 34-7 game was.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Their record
right
books.
Up there.
Absolutely, their record books. This has got to sting. I mean, not that they're smart enough to pay attention to this, but their record books have their worst home loss ever, and their storied 5,000 years of playing college football, their worst home performance ever was against a team they said will never ever beat them, and
6-3.
Just feels
6-3,
so
baby.
damn good.
Yeah,
feels so good. Yeah, absolutely.
Decades before we could compete with them.
Fuck them.
3 years, 3 straight years. Oh.
It's right. So that's awesome, man. It's like, so when you played, because you came in the Bill Curry era, you never played against Georgia Southern, right?
I did not. No.
Yeah, because that wasn't until a couple of years after you were gone. But you still have that hatred for him. Where did that? You just being a Georgia State guy, it's been intensified by the trash talk you've heard from everybody.
Yeah, well, I found the biggest rivalries you have are with people when you interact with people of that fan base regularly. It's why I can't stand Georgia people, and it's why I can't stand Georgia Southern people. Yeah, specifically because
Georgia people, all right.
They're the same people, Joe.
It's fair.
They're the same people, Joe. They're the same people.
They are a lot. There's a lot of overlap there, which is really sad for Georgia Southern and less sad for Georgia.
Yeah, exactly. But that was the main spark, and of course, I was worried having an in-state rival and how things went the first year. I really hated that Paulson North banner they brought out. So,
but
I was actually down there.
What since then?
Yep. I love that. And I was in the stands, and I'd bought my tickets from Georgia Southern ticket office, so I was not with the rest of the Georgia State people.
Oh,
but
no.
I was losing my mind the whole game.
Yeah, well, you have the physique to be able to hold your own in those stands. Somebody like Ryan or me.
Statesboro?
What's that?
You were in Statesboro?
Oh, I was in Statesboro. Yeah.
Neither David nor I have ever been to Statesboro, so.
You're not missing anything.
I can't justify driving 3.5 hours out there and not just blowing right past it to Savannah, which is an amazing city and someplace that I actually want to be. And I'll just watch it on TV from some bar in Savannah, and that'll be fine. And then I'll eat some shrimp and have a good time because Savannah is an amazing city and has good food. The shrimp.
The shrimp. It has great food.
The shrimp.
Which I'll back you on that. I think that's what we did. We went to the game and we went to Savannah after the game. Finished the evening.
You did it right.
I just can't imagine myself going to Statesboro.
Well, there's not shit there.
Yeah, there's really not much there.
We got a drainage ditch.
I went to Boone, and there's not shit there either. But it wasn't Statesboro.
Well, I saw the pictures. They got some breweries and stuff. That seemed cool.
And you got the mountains in Boone, at least.
Yeah.
You
did. I tell you what, man. It's like I forget how many miles it is there. Like it's from where I left. From where I put my map on was Brookhaven. That's where I picked up a buddy of mine that went with us, and it was 4 hours and 38 minutes. Is that the drive was?
That's not bad. That's Savannah.
But that last hour is only like 30 miles because it's so hilly and so curvy, you can't really like. And I was taking this old '97 Ford Explorer my mom gave me a couple months ago. Whatever, it's old piece of crap car.
Did you drive that
And
janky ass car up there?
I did. I drove that thing up there, and like the speed limit signs were like down to 50, and I'm like, yeah, I wish I could go 50 up this hill right now. So it's a struggle. It's a struggle getting up there, but yeah, I mean, it's fine. It was fine up there, but so I do want to talk about your time on the program. So you were there, that 41-7 win against Shorter College on that fateful night in September 2nd or whatever it was, September 2nd, I think it was.
September 2nd. Yep.
Yeah. What was it like? I mean, having played already at Georgia Tech, what was it like coming out into this brand new football team? What was that experience like?
It was a very unique feeling in that one, it was wonderful being at Georgia State because, like, outside of the school and the administrators, like, something that really lasted an impression on me was I walked across the street to the gas station that was across from the dorm where we were housed during camp, and I go in and I'm checking out, and I'm just having a conversation with the checkout guy, and he's asking me about, how's Georgia State going to be? How Bill Curry comes in? We're big Georgia State fans here. And that was something I never got at Georgia Tech. Specifically, support in the community, like directly around having an interest in state. So that was really neat. And the impression I got of state was it's a university that is prepared to build a team properly. They have enough funds to invest in things like, when I was there the first year, we're changing in a locker room underneath the sports arena, which is, to be generous, a middle school would be a little embarrassed of that locker room.
Generous.
Yeah, it was, but it was what it was.
Well, my high school basketball gym was better than the sports arena was. So I don't know how I brought up my high school twice in one night, but there we go. Go Cougars.
Shout out to Chattahoochee. There you go.
There we go.
I was gonna say, well, like,
you
so
remembered. Well, I'm impressed.
I was actually impressed by that too. Mac is like the prominent beer and wine and liquor salesman over in that area, and he's a big Georgia State guy. So he's probably more excited about you joining our program than their program. He just likes selling alcohol to those fellas over there.
Oh yeah. No, I got to know Mac pretty well after I transferred, and him and Jerry is the accountant over there.
That makes sense.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Jerry
Absolutely.
Mac drags Jerry to plenty of the basketball games. He's got courtside seats down there. It's always a good tailgate, basketball tailgate when Mac shows up, because you're going into the game with several Fireball airplane bottles.
Well, he always brings me plenty of PBR too.
And he brings
you won't
PBR
run out of
Ryan.
alcohol. Yeah.
No. If I could give anybody any advice at all, is become friends with someone who owns a liquor store. You do well.
So Mac is not a sponsor. He might be anyway, but also go to Mac's Liquor and Wine.
He sponsored our bus
trip.
He sponsored our bus trip to Auburn. He sponsored our bus trip to Auburn. He did. But go there. Don't go to Greens. Go to Mac's, because Mac's is better.
Greens is dirty. Mac's is clean, organized.
That's right. That's right. He's good to his people too, man. Those people love working for him.
Has
employed more Georgia Tech students than any other company in the world.
I believe that.
He said
several.
Well, no, he said like 20 years ago or something like that. The Georgia Tech newspaper paper wanted to see if he would sponsor an ad in there, and he's like, "All right, cool. Like, well, what are you gonna put on there?" And he said somebody said Max employs more Georgia Tech students than any other business in the world, and they ran it. and it became a thing. He actually got noted a shout out from Georgia Tech for doing it, and it was simply because they put it on an ad in the Georgia Tech paper.
That's awesome. It might not be true though. I mean,
it's
Georgia
not
Tech...
true. I'm sure NASA has him beat, but anyhow, let's not fluff Georgia Tech too
they have
much
a meet
here.
with like 10.
Exactly. So so you come out in the Georgia Dome, and it's in a 32,000 packed house for the very first game ever. What was that like? I was there. I mean, I was beside myself excited. I never thought I would see Georgia State football, and to see it pack out like that was great.
Oh, the crowd turnout was awesome. And granted, I've been in big situations, so it wasn't something that was completely foreign to me. But at the beginning or going into it, you don't know what the crowd's going to be like. You know what you hope for, but it was the first game we were ever going to have, so we didn't know exactly what we would see. But the crowd turnout was amazing, and like the feeling of driving down the field the first drive, Paris Lee going in for the touchdown, and just knowing that we were involved in so many firsts, that was really neat. Because especially at Tech, they've already done things. They've won national titles in the 90s and the 50s, and we've already had All-Americans and people that have set all these great records, whereas at Georgia State, it is a blank slate. It was everything we do.
Got sacked by Rudy. You got sacked by Rudy. We
let Sean Astin just run right by our O-lineman.
Mikey from the Goonies was able to knock the guy out. He was offside. It's okay.
Exactly. But that's cool. Not having that history and weight on top of you, and just being able to go out and make something new, and not being given the opportunity to create new traditions, as opposed to coming into some place that has been doing it for 100 years. It was refreshing, and I liked it. And I like how Georgia State, even when they didn't, it was clear at some point they ran out of money doing the budgeting for the staff, and they didn't get all of the highest quality support staff around. But everybody was really working towards something. And the big shots that they went out and got, like the Bill Currys, the John Bonds, the D coordinators, like these were quality folks, and they wanted to build something and make Georgia State into a program. And we needed to evolve a lot from that original vision, but I appreciated that everybody was really committed to it, and everyone really wanted to build something that hadn't been seen before at Georgia State. So it was awesome. A great feeling. Yeah.
What was Bill Curry like? I mean, you see him. I mean, we've heard him you've heard him from everywhere. You've heard him on TV. You've heard him in all this kind of stuff. But what was it like being in a room with him, talking to you about football and preparing for games, in a locker room before or after game? What was all that like?
Honestly, surreal is the best way I can describe it, because Bill Curry has lived a Forrest Gump type of life, is the way I think of it, because he just has touched people and has influenced lives of so many folks out there. Like one, going into his office during recruiting, I sat down and there's a picture behind him of him snapping the ball to Johnny Unitas. And then you got stuff like that. And then at camp, like something Curry believed in was being a total person and really emphasizing full structure. And he would have a bunch of speakers come through. So we had like Leo Mazzoni, Jesse Tuggle. I got to shake hands with Andrew Young, mayor.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
ambassador.
Ambassador Young, and all of that. Like when we played a game at Houston, we fly in early and we have an early team dinner, do our walkthrough, and then we're going out, and they take us to Mission Command, and while we're there, an astronaut pops out and gives a little speech about how Bill Curry inspired him as a child, and they gave him a medal while we were out there. That's what I was just like. All right, that's Bill Curry for you.
What am I even
Man,
part of right now? Holy
Yeah.
crap!
That is fantastic. Yeah, I mean, he's such a
Unreal.
great speaker, and he's done so many
He's
great
a great
things.
human being. Like
Mhm.
Bill
He's a
Curry is a
great
good
human
dude.
being.
He's a genuinely
so-
good person.
Yep.
I remember that first year of Georgia State football, and obviously hearing Coach Curry's voice and all the press conference and stuff like that. Anyhow, I was in my my old house, and I was cooking, or I was making something in my kitchen, and from my kitchen you could not see the TV in the living room, but I could hear it. And all of a sudden, I have NFL Network on, and I hear some voice, and it's like the top, like NFL Network, they do their top 100 this or top 25 this or whatever it was, and I forget what it was, but I just heard this voice talking about the top best, whatever. And I'm like, I know this voice, and I come around the room, and sure enough, it was Bill Curry talking about Vince Lombardi or somebody or something like that, and it was like, holy shit, this is my head coach on NFL Network talking about the greatest ever that he played with or whatever, and yeah, he's I love that he's kind of the father of this football program. I wish that his tenure here had been more successful. But yeah, there's not a better guy to have been the father of this program and bring it to life. And I'm very, very grateful that he was part of this program. So
yeah, I think there's a lot of clout around it. Obviously, fans are a little disappointed with the record and how some of that turned out, but no one takes any of that away from him, and that like he totally deserved to be part of this program, and we're like all incredibly proud that he was part of this program. So
you spent your entire time at the Georgia Dome. You never like you were there, because you were that first, was it 3 years you played for state? 2 years
Actually,
you played for state?
only 2.
2 years.
2010
2 years you
and
played for state.
2011. No.
Gotcha. And then you got to become a fan.
Yep, which that was great. I enjoyed the young alumni ticket discount for the year that they offered it to me.
Yeah, we tailgated. We tailgated pretty close to each other once we moved over to the blue lot. I think didn't you either had my cooler for a year or I had your cooler for a year. We didn't. We had to like get them back like the following season or something. Like I was telling my wife tonight when I said you were coming on, like, do you remember that guy that I think had my cooler for a year? She's like, which cooler was it? Was it my cooler? Why did he have my cooler? I'm like, this was 10 years ago. Calm down. It's all good now.
Which my bad about that. I am bad about coolers. You can. I actually took one from Femi Opanubi, gave it back like 8 years later. It was bad on my part.
I was at something one weekend, and we all decided to like go somewhere else afterwards. And so wherever we were, the guy one of my friends put his, I say friend, he was on my kickball team, and he put his cooler in my car. And we went out, and he ended up going home, and then I go home, and I put the cooler in my carport, and did not see the guy for like 6 years. Ran into him in a bar, and he's like, I think you have my cooler. I'm like, yeah, it's been sitting in my carport for the past 6 years. Yeah, it happens. I'm like, it's a $19 Coleman cooler from Walmart. I think you could have replaced it by now, but anyway. What was there like Oh, sorry, go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
Oh well, no, I was gonna say kind of dating back to the facilities upgrades and the way the school invests in the program, going from that middle school locker room in the basement of the sports arena to next year they had the I forget what they're calling it now, but the MLK the MLK practice facility.
Now it's the soccer field.
Yep, now it's the soccer field, which I'm glad they were able to convert that, because as soon as I heard they were moving everything from there to Turner Field, I thought, man, they spent a lot of money making that place nice. It's
still pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's a little frustrating. We've talked about it a little bit where like half the field is like literally like a foot or two from the line of actually playing soccer, and you can't actually see it. Like from the stands, there's a section of the field that you can't actually see from the stands, which is just it's a little frustrating, but
They
overall it's decent.
And also shout out to Coach Surrency of men's soccer
Who?
coach, who. Yes, exactly. I apparently I saw him today. I saw him today at my kid's school. He apparently his the men's head soccer coach. His kid goes to my school. So my school, my kid's school. I saw him there.
That was a
It's
joke.
funny.
That was a joke anyway. I do remember him, and David was an asshole to me earlier about it, without any kind of like. He didn't even give me a chance. He just was an asshole right off the bat.
Well, he walked up and I saw a guy wearing a Georgia State soccer shirt, and I was kind of like, well, the only person who would wear that is someone associated to the program, and who? And then I was like, but he looks familiar. I'm like, that's got to be the head coach. It's got to be the head coach. And so I pull up the roster on GeorgiaStateSports.com. I'm like, yeah, that's totally him. And then I was gonna walk over and like say, hey, I actually was wearing this exact same Georgia State polo. I'll be like, hey, you don't really see two Georgia State people in the wild like this together. But then his kid came out, my kid came out. I didn't want to bug him at all. But
and what's so funny is how irritated we all get when we're wearing Georgia State stuff out in the wild, and we all have gotten this question, I'm sure. Do you work for the program? Are you a coach? Always.
Yeah,
it's like, do I look like a coach to you? Do I look like I've ever played a snap of football in my fucking life? I don't think so.
Yeah, I got it from the wine store up here. I made a comment about going to the Appy State game, and he's like, wow, you really are a big fan of Georgia State. I'm like, well, somebody's got to be, every school's got to have one big
I wore
fan.
a shirt that says Georgia State on it, then yeah, I guess, but like that's not what I draw the line on, like very big fan.
Right. Yeah. Well, I was going to a Wednesday game in Boone for Georgia State. I think that's what he was getting at. So
fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Played me a favor there.
Yeah. Was there a particular? I don't know. I'm just trying to think of random questions to ask now. Was there a particular like game, like an away game, that stood out to you when you were playing with State, or because like back then we were still that like transitional year for those first 2 years. You played some weird teams.
Did you play in Maine with that like there was like a snowstorm when we played them in the first like couple years?
I think that was year 3, wasn't it?
3.
Yep. Oh dang!
Yeah.
All right, never mind. Ignore me.
Thankfully I missed out on that. But some of the memorable away games, Alabama was fun. Obviously,
of course.
Yeah, that was a great time. But some of the more memorable ones, I remember the ODU game up in Virginia. Virginia Beach was real fun, and
I feel like ODU, if we like continued playing them, they would have been like a rival, but we like moved on without them, and now they're back. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that there's a good chance to like re-up that. Like I don't know how interesting they are outside of the CAA for us, and they started up when we started up, and I don't know if like that feeling is there still, and so I don't know what's going to happen there. But I think there was a chance for a rivalry early on, and now I think it might be gone.
Well, I know that we are 0-3 against ODU in football, and we need to rectify that on Saturday.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. That's 100%. Which,
yeah,
I thought that would be a fun rivalry, because I thought South Alabama and ODU were going to be our rivals for a long time, because we played South Alabama both years I was there.
And they're all new. They're both new programs.
Mm-hmm.
And the South Alabama fans were dicks. They were dicks. I remember coming out of the Georgia Dome. I have that first game against them, and they were that was my first experience of really witnessing like outside of the trash down South, witnessing like.
Well, I don't know if I've ever met a ODU fan.
That's a good point. I don't know anybody. I don't know you either.
I know a guy that went there, but he is an Alabama fan. He does not claim South Alabama for hardly anything.
Who would?
Yeah, which fair. Because I mean, they were playing out of. I've not seen their new stadium, but man, that whatever State Fair stadium they were playing out of for a while.
Lad Peebles.
Yeah.
Lad Peebles, that's it. Oh, that
Why do I
place was
know that?
horrible.
I don't know why I know
I don't
that.
know, but I knew it too. It was in the back of my head, and I was like, is that one, or is that the Birmingham, the UAB
No,
one? I
because it
couldn't
was like
remember.
this weird like public sector like thing that they just happened to like show up to, and there was a bowl game there too.
The Senior Bowl gets played there.
Yeah, and it's apparently this really shitty venue that like nobody likes, and it's all sort of decrepit, and I don't know why anyone was excited about playing football there, but they sure as hell were.
Yeah, that didn't make much sense. And then the worst away game experience was far and away South Carolina State. These folks, I don't know when they built the away locker rooms, but they have received no maintenance from the day they were built. We got out there, it was like cold brown water coming out of the shower, no soap. So luckily I brought the soap from the hotel with me, and I'm just kind of shivering. trying to
Oh man, I know. Honestly, though, I feel like
lost that game.
I'm like, do that. Why would you not get into that psychological warfare and just like make your opposing team locker rooms like horrible? Like, there's stories like that. There was like a Texas like high school or college, I think it was a high school, that like painted the visitor locker room pink to kind of like try to demoralize the guys and everything. And I'm like, do it. I mean, do whatever the NCAA allows. Make it as horrible as possible, and just yeah.
I mean, I can dig that about
I'm into the petty.
Yeah, well, I mean, so the good news for me is like I really love pink. So, you know, I would probably play better. I'd be moralized for that. I'd be like, "Holy shit, let's do it for the pink."
But like that wouldn't be bad. And I get the idea of making things uncomfortable, because speaking of uncomfortable, ODU's locker room is directly underneath the stands, so there's a fun little slant that runs through the majority of the locker rooms, and my locker was on that, and so I was standing with my head just to the side like this.
Like,
so I
Coach
get
Curry,
that
stop talking.
Yeah, exactly. So I get the make them uncomfortable aspect, but give me a clean shower, man. Don't.
Yeah, especially after a game, you want to get cleaned up. I get you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
just let me wash and get out.
Yeah.
But that was fun, and like we had some memorable away games playing against Case Keenum at Houston when he was doing so well. He
balled out though, man. He like showed why he was an NFL quarterback that game. I remember.
Yep. Didn't go all that well I did get to play some center that game, which was so fun. I
was gonna say, and nothing to do with you. You were not defending their offense at all, so that's all good. Case Keenum lit us up.
Yeah, that was. Well, I mean, you know, you're playing Case Keenum. What can you do?
Oh yeah, he lit everybody up back then.
Mm-hmm.
What was Albert Wilson like as a teammate? I mean,
he's a cool guy.
I mean, I figure like, you know, it's surprising you have a guy that comes on to a upstart football team and actually finds his way onto the NFL, and you know does you know respectable by NFL standards. So and got that one that return. You mentioned the Alabama game. You got that return, that kickoff return, which is the only kickoff return Alabama allowed that entire season. Which I hate that term, that Alabama allowed. No, that like
didn't allow it.
That the team, the team like took away from you. Yeah. So he's a pretty cool dude. I mean, I've met him before. He's pretty cool to me. I just curious what, as far as teammates go, I don't know how much linemen and wide receivers are talking and stuff, but pretty cool dude.
Yeah, which there wasn't too much overlap. I'd call him more of an acquaintance than a friend, but he was always a real nice guy and real down to earth. Like, you know, a lot of times wide receivers will think they have to be Michael Irving out there and, you know, make it a big ego show. But Albert was never like that. He just, you know, I mean,
that's awesome.
Yeah, he liked succeeding and getting the attention, but he wasn't. He wasn't about making it about him, which was great. And we actually had it's shocking how many people from those first 2 years went on to have legitimate pro careers. We had
Mhm.
Albert probably been the most successful, but we also had Christo, who
Billikidi,
First
spent a few
drafted
years.
player. Yep.
Yeah, and
but he went
Ulrich
on to
John.
the CFL. He got drafted and then opted into the CFL.
Well, he bounced around. He played for like 3 NFL teams before he hit the CFL.
He played for the Raiders, I think.
And he played for
Mhm.
the Colts.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if he played for the Saints.
There was
or not.
another one who went with
He
the
didn't play for the Saints. I would have written him off of my my fandom if he played for the Saints. So
who is the guy who
Will
went
Lutz
to the
is absolutely
Colts?
dead to me. I'm like, I don't care. Will Lutz. Oh, I hope he loses every game. Don't play for the Saints.
That's
Stop
my
it. The Saints.
fantasy secret weapon.
Who was the one who went to the Colts?
Ulrich played for the Colts
Ulrich.
for a while.
Yeah, he went to the Colts.
Yeah,
Ulrich.
John. And he played for a good long time.
Yeah,
So
we have a really good record of sending players to the
for
pros.
how short our program is, we do. And also,
Incredible.
if I had a modicum of like manly DNA of like 6'2", broad shoulder DNA, I would name my son Ulrich. That's just a fucking badass name.
Yeah.
That sounds like
That's a
somebody no
great
one's
name.
fucking with. But then you have my son will probably be like 5'8" and just a pudgy little piece of shit. You name him Ulrich, he's getting made fun of his entire life.
It's
So
like a Viking king or something is Ulrich. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
that's either a very badass guy or he's playing tuba in the band. One of those two. There's no middle ground for that name.
Excellent. Well, now that we've officially made fun of my 4-month-old son, I think we can go ahead and call this quits. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll talk to you next week. Thank you, Joe, again for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank y'all for having me. And go Panthers.
Go Panthers.